ॐ विश्वं दर्पणदृश्यमाननगरी तुल्यन्निजान्तर्गतं पश्यन्नात्मनि मायया बहिरिवोद्भूतं यथा निद्रया यस्साक्षात् कुरुते प्रबोधसमये स्वात्मानमेवाद्वयं तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये बीजस्यान्तरिवाङ्कुरो जगदिदं प्राङ्निर्विकल्पं पुनः मायाकल्पितदेशकालकलना वैचित्रचित्रीकृतं मायावीव विजृम्भयत्यपि महायोगी वयस्वेच्छया तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ॐ So Vidyanya deals with the topic of this Nididhyasanam, which is meant for Viparita Bhavana Nivrutti, Dehatma Bhavana Nivrutti, Adhyas Nivrutti, etc. etc. So Nididhyasanam is not meant for knowledge or not meant for the conviction in the knowledge. It's all conviction is born when the mananam is over. And these things are not a watertight compartment. First Shravanam. Now my stage has come for mananam. Now my stage has come for nididhyasanam. It's not so. The very Shravanam can become Nididhyasanam. The Shravanam itself becomes a Mananam. Like you are right now, doing a Shravanam of a Pancadasi. It's more of a Mananam. Many things we are, many doubts, right, are getting resolved. We are not trying to understand the purport of the Upanishad. We know Upanishad talks about Jiva Brahma Aikyam. We are not doing that. But we have so much of doubt how Atma is consciousness, etc. Let the Shastra talks about it. But how Atma is consciousness, how Atma is Brahman. And the other person says something else about Atma, etc. etc. So, this Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasanam are not some kind of a stages or something. Shravanam and then now Mananam. Now my stage has come for me. It's nothing like that. It could happen that the very Shravanam itself becomes Nididhyasanam at any moment. The teacher describes regarding Atma many things, and you feel it is, what teacher talks about is me. That's a Nididhyasana. Anyway, any class can become a Nididhyasana, So Nididhyasanam is basically not meant for knowledge or not meant for conviction in knowledge. It is just meant to drive this knowledge into our subconscious mind. So even after our conscious mind is convinced in our heart of hearts, because of the long habits or vasanas, there is continuity of ahankara, mamakara as a reality. Taking oneself as an individual. Ahankara reality means taking oneself as still individual, taking oneself as a still karta, bhokta, pramata, jiva. That's all. That's called Viparita Bhavana. That is because individuality is born, but you are saying Viparita Bhavana means Adhyasa. Taking oneself as an individual means continuity of Adhyasa. How can you say? Then what it is? If you are just a consciousness and you take yourself as a one conscious being, individual, means something which you have superimposed upon limitless consciousness. And that is the body. Body mind sense complex, if you superimpose upon this consciousness, which is the real meaning of the I, implied meaning of the I. The very I shines because of the consciousness. I is consciousness. What else is consciousness? I is consciousness. And therefore, because something else also shines because of the consciousness, which is self evident. So, what shines after you take along with the I? So, the ignorant person's I is a mixture. Yeah. Right? It's a mixture. But that mixture has happened, right, Swamiji? Then we have to remove that. We have to separate this mixture. There is nothing called mixture. If you are saying it's a mixture and now you are saying it is not a mixture, yes. Because Atma and Anatma cannot be mixed together. That's it. Cannot be mixed. One is Satyam, one is Mithya. You cannot mix. Right? A person who is in a waking, a boy who is awaking, in a waking state, cannot marry to a dream girl. He may have a dream girl, that's another thing, but cannot marry. That is naturally. So, that can never happen. And so, tamah prakashavat viruddha svabhavayo. Therefore, it's a confusion. There is no mixture. It's just a confusion. And if there is a confusion, there is a cause. And the cause of the confusion is only one. Only one, that is avidya. Cause of confusion is ignorance. That's it. And here it is ignorance pertaining to the self. Self-ignorance. Because you take the self as even non-self or a mixture, let's say. You take body, mind, sense complex as yourself. That's how individuality is born. That is the obstacle. Even after understanding that I am consciousness, limitless consciousness through Shravanam Mananam, still habitually you take that as yourself. So that's adhyasa, etc. Well, anyway, so this kind of a vasanas are there, and therefore one has to, definitely, vasanas means subconscious mind, definitely. So therefore, and that is how ahankara is born. It's a abhimana, it's an identification with this body, mind, sense complex. And then mamakara also will be there in a few things, at least in your family, in your possessions, etc. And both are these unvedantic thought patterns actually. So, because from Vedantic standpoint, I am just Atma, I am just pure consciousness, nothing else. Everything shines in me as a mithya. That's it. So, and that is how we have to understand this and we have to assimilate this. And for that purpose, let's start a little discussion. Like as if right now, today you are going to do Nididhyasana on Atma. How should I do? So that I am taking few verses from here and there in order to refresh your memory that I am just a limitless consciousness, nothing else. So let's do that. I'm selecting one verse from Vivek Chudamani right now. I'm keeping away right now Pancadasi because we are talking about Nididhyasanam, Viparita Bhavana, removal, etc. Just think and focusing that I am just Atma. But Swamiji, what I am Atma, I am limitless consciousness, that itself I don't know now. So anyway, I am refreshing your memory. See, in a Vivek Chudamani, there is one. I'm going to take few verses, as if you are going to do Nididhyasanam after the class. See, Shankaracharya ji says in verse 130 in Vivek Chudamani, Yena Vishwavidam Vyaptam Yam na Vyapnoti Kinchana Abharupam Idam Sarvam Yam Bhanti Anubhatyayam. Right now I am concentrating on this aspect. I am limitless consciousness. Right? How to dwell upon this? How to dwell upon this teaching that I am limitless consciousness? This dwelling upon this teaching itself is a Nididhyasanam. Focusing our mind on that, is Nididhyasanam, as you said. which will remove the viparit bhavana, adhyas bhavana, that I am deha, etc. Well, let's do this. Let's go into the detail of this verse. So it says here, ayam yam bhanti anubhati ayam. Ayam means the ever evident consciousness, which is Atma. Ayam is actually a pronoun, and the pronoun is used for something which is evident. Ayam means this. This means which is right in front of me. If something is far away, we will never use the word ayam, this. We will use word that, tat, etc. Anyway, but I am referring to something which is very, very evident. And for that Atma which is ever evident, we use this word ayam, very popular in Shastra. Ayam Atma, Brahma in Mandukya also. Anyway, so Shastra uses word this to indicate that Atma is ever evident consciousness. Even though right now you are also evident to me, right? And for all of you, I can use word this, or for a computer, let us say, which is also evident to me, which is in front of me. And there also I am using the word this. But at least, I have to use my eyes, right? I have to open my eyes, and I have to turn towards this computer, etc. So even though the computer is evident, and but that computer is evident conditionally. What is the condition? Open the eyes, and there should be a contact of the eyes of the computer. There should be a mind behind everything. Then computer becomes evident. So it's a conditional evident. So even though we use the word this for evident, computer, etc., well, there is a condition in that. Sense organs must be directed, whereas ayam we use, this use for consciousness is so evident that you do not require even a sense operation to make the consciousness evident. To make the computer evident, so many conditions are there. Sense operation, my mind should be behind, my head should be towards the computer, etc. Everything. All these conditions are there. So, we use word this for computer, which is evident, and we use word this for consciousness also, but the difference is, one is unconditionally evident, one is conditionally evident. If condition is not satisfied, computer will not be evident. So anyway, that is how, the sense operation, etc. Is not required to make the consciousness evident. You open the eyes, consciousness is evident. You close the eyes, consciousness is evident. You open the eyes, how the consciousness is evident? You open the eyes, how the consciousness is evident? Well, as the illuminator of forms and colors. You close the eyes, how the consciousness is evident? Well, as the illuminator of absence of colors and forms. So, colors are absent, consciousness is evident. Colors are present, consciousness is evident. So, because of consciousness alone, we are talking about the presence or absence of colors and forms. Similarly, the presence of a sound, as well as absence of a sound. How the consciousness is evident? Sound is present, consciousness is evident. Sound is absent, consciousness is evident. And therefore, consciousness is evident, ever evident. Clear? Form is evident, condition is there. Right? But the consciousness is evident, no condition. Means consciousness is ever evident. So, computer is evident, form is evident because the sense organ, eyes are open, condition. But consciousness is evident. Eyes is closed, consciousness is evident. Eyes open, computer is evident. Eyes closed, computer is not evident. Eyes open, consciousness is evident. Eyes closed, consciousness is evident. Means consciousness is ever evident without any sense operation. For that purpose, for ever evident consciousness, word I am is used. This means evident. Here in Shastra word this, in Vyavara word this is used for the objects which are present in front of you. Well, and they become evident to you. Whereas in Shastra word this is used, for ever evident consciousness. What is the word I am? Nitya aparoksha. Means there is no condition for the consciousness to be evident. In other words, evidence is the nature of consciousness. We call it Swayam Prakasha. Computer is Prakashitah because eyes fall on that. So all conditions. Whereas consciousness is evident whether eyes are open or closed. Eyes are closed, you are able to say, because the closed eyes are illumined by the consciousness. Absence of forms are illumined by the consciousness, etc. So please understand this. So, Ayam means, Nitya Swayam Prakasha Rupaha, which is eternally ever evident consciousness. And what is the nature of this consciousness? Yena idam vishwam vyaptam. Further, yena idam vishwam vyaptam. It means what? Yena idam, because of which the whole world is pervaded by this consciousness. Consciousness is aware of the thoughts, consciousness is aware of the absence of the thoughts. So, all the time we have been talking about consciousness as a witness or illuminator, and when I talk about this, consciousness as a witness, we invariably take consciousness as something located within the body. Now, this is the thing we have to do. So, I am consciousness, ever evident consciousness, but witness. Witness means inside. If you say inside, you will never be able to understand limitless consciousness. Inside means limited. So now this doubt has to go. This is a big barrier, very big barrier. I am consciousness, I am witness. Witness of the thought, presence of the thought, witness of the absence of the thought. But that witness of the thought, Swamiji, remains inside. Therefore, I am Sakshi who is within the body. Then limitless consciousness will never be understood. So now we will have to deal with this. Anyway, so when I talk about consciousness as a witness, we invariably take consciousness as something located within the body. Because it is a witness of the thought. Where should be the witness of the thought? Well, definitely inside. And therefore, we have gotten this imagination that consciousness is seated within. It's like we always feel consciousness is like a searchlight, and which is very powerful and which illumines all thoughts. Thoughts are going and that searchlight is there inside as a witness, witnessing everything. We feel like that. So it illumines the presence of thoughts, it illumines the absence of thoughts, it illumines the body, it illumines the mind, it illumines the senses, and we will locate the consciousness within the body. So I am consciousness understood, but I am limitless consciousness, means I pervade everything. Shankaracharya ji says, Yena Atmana Idam Vishwam Vyaptam. This whole world is pervaded, which I find it's difficult to understand. I am witness, I understand. I am consciousness, witness consciousness, understood. No problem, but inside. So when I define consciousness as witness of thoughts, a big mistake is committed. And that mistake is that Atma or this consciousness is thought to be existing only within. And that is why even in the field of science also, they accept consciousness only in living beings, where brain is there, where cell is there, where neuron is there. Well, they will accept consciousness as a property existing in a living being, in a limited place, in a brain, etc. Well, this confusion is very natural. Either we belong to science or we do not belong to science. This confusion is very, very prevalent, that consciousness is within. We will say Sakshi. Science will not use the word Sakshi. They will take it consciousness as a property. But they will also search in a living being, means excluded all other. And in living being also in a brain, in cell, in neuron. Anyway, so this confusion is very, very prevalent. So even after coming to Vedanta, we will have this confusion that I am conscious of or I am witness of the thoughts. So naturally we take it as within the body. And there are scriptural statements also which helps us to keep this confusion going. Because they say you turn within. Right? Paranchikhani vetrunat swayambhuhu parang pashyati nacha antaratman kaschit dhiraha pratyagatmanam aikshat avrutta chakshu amrutattam icchan. So, Yamaraja also as though says, well, Paranchikhani, if you are extrovert, you will never be able to realize yourself. So, avrutta chakshuhu, all your senses and everything should be turned within. Oh, means Atma is within. Atma is within, then it is not a Brahman. Definitely it is not a Brahman. Brahman which is all pervading. Which is all pervading means which is not within. Which is within and without. That's a Brahman. But I never understand that. I feel I am a witness of thoughts and mind and senses and body and this. So witness is inside. And they also say you should be introvert. That's what Yamaraja says. So dive within, seek within. So these expressions are there. So confusion is complete. That's it. This is the place where Nididhyasanam stops. To understand I am conscious being and I am witness is very easy, frankly speaking. I am limitless consciousness is the Nididhyasana. If you are a limitless consciousness, definitely you are not the body. That's for sure. If that clarity comes, you have dropped this notion that I am the body, mind, sense complex. So that's a big confusion. It's a big obstacle, in fact. And certain the statements of the Shastra also help you to keep this confusion going. If you don't understand, interpret those statements properly. Anyway, so Atma is sitting inside like that. So Shankaracharya ji wants to break this notion. So he said, Yena idam vishwam vyaptam. The whole universe is pervaded by consciousness. And this is a unique concept of the Vedanta. This is not there in any science, etc. Very unique aspect of the Vedantic teaching. So not only consciousness is taken as an independent entity, is taken as the all-pervading entity. Idam vishwam yena vyaptam. Yena means chaitanyena atmana vyaptam, pervaded. Then, the questions will be, if consciousness is all-pervading, how come we do not recognize consciousness everywhere? That's a question. If we get the answer of this question, we are ready to accept, yes, that I, the consciousness, is all-pervading. So, this is our natural question. If you say consciousness is all-pervading, how come I am not able to recognize consciousness everywhere? So, I do not experience consciousness everywhere. I do not experience consciousness in the computer, in the clock. How can you say it pervades even clock? I can experience consciousness only in the body, or in your body, or in a living body. For that Acharya gave a beautiful answer in Atma Bodha. He said in verse number 17, Sada sarvagatopi atma na sarvatra avabhasate. Buddhau eva avabhaseta swacheshu pratibimbavat. Even though consciousness is all pervading, well, we cannot experience it everywhere because the recognition of the consciousness requires an appropriate medium, which is not the limitation of the consciousness. Oh, because we require appropriate medium, there only it manifests. That's a limitation of consciousness. It is not limitation of consciousness, it is our limitation. That we require a material medium for the recognition of consciousness. And I give you example for that. Even though the electricity is flowing, throughout the wire, when we want to find out whether there is a power or not, well, what do? We look only at a particular place, right? We look only at a particular place to find out whether the power is there or not. Even the wire is running all through, right? Not concealed, let us say. Not concealed in the wall, etc. Well, if it is concealed, well, you do not see even wire also. But the wire is, there on the wall. How wire is going outside, but to recognize, and the power is present, electricity is present there, everywhere in all the wires. But to recognize the presence of the electricity, we look for a special point, and that is plug point, right? And therefore, so now please tell me whether it is a limitation of electricity or it's a limitation of us. It's our limitation. It's our limitation that we require a special point to recognize the presence of the electricity. Anyway, you go to a plug point and have a taster, etc., and you put it and see whether it is there or not. Somebody said, Swamiji, bulb is burning, then, well, definitely electricity is there. Whether bulb burns or it doesn't burn, you cannot recognize electricity, understand? Sometimes a bulb is out of order now. So, therefore, that's not a criteria. Because somebody may ask me, if bulb is burning, well, then electricity is there. If bulb is out of order, its prarabdha is over, then what? Then what? Don't be so trustworthy on the bulb and fan and etc. Oh, air conditioner is running and therefore, well, it is there. Air conditioner may be out of order. Now tell me, how do you recognize electricity is there or not? Ultimately a plug point, okay? So Shankaracharya ji gives another example. That, he says, a light is falling on my body, and from my body it is traveling in all directions after reflecting. So the light is reflected on my face and it is traveling all over, or it is falling in my whole body and it is traveling in all directions. And but if I keep a book in front of my face, I will not be able to see my face. Even though the light falls on my face and it is going on the book, think that this is book, and it is falling, the reflected light falls on this book, but book is not able to reflect my face. When the book does not have because the book does not have a capacity to reflect my face, but the light is definitely coming out all right. But in this place, if I keep a mirror, let us say, definitely I am able to capture my face in the mirror. So even without a mirror, a light is there, but I am not able to recognize it. Light is going from, reflected light from my body, going in all directions, or from my face, it is going. But to capture my face, to capture the reflected light, you should use only mirror. That's it. And therefore, according to Vedanta, consciousness is everywhere, but it cannot be recognized everywhere. This thing should come in Nididhyasanam all the time. I am telling you, all the time. This is not a simple obstacle, please understand. This obstacle takes time to go. I'm telling you, I'm cautioning you. I'm cautioning you again and again to to appreciate your limitless consciousness will take time. Don't be in hurry. I'm telling you. And go through systematic steps. Go through systematic steps. People try, I'm limitless consciousness. Just sit and I'm limitless consciousness. Nothing comes. No light comes in the mind. No light. Nothing comes. Go systematically. Why should I go systematically? I have studied. I'm Brahman. It doesn't come. Okay? Because the orientation is I'm limited. That orientation is so powerful it will not even shake off even by a repeated nididhyasana. I'm telling all this not to discourage you, please. I'm telling you it takes time. I'm again telling you it takes time. This is well rooted notion. I am a limited conscious being. I am a limited conscious being is so natural to you now. Very natural. It will not go easily. And therefore don't get discouraged. Even after sitting Nididhyasana, don't think that in a single Nididhyasana for 15 minutes, I will come out with I am a limitless consciousness. It starts shaking. That notion starts shaking. But don't think it, and then after Nididhyasana, in Nididhyasana you understood that you are limitless consciousness. And then when you start walking, you feel again you are a limited being. The whole day you feel you are a limited being. Then you feel Nididhyasana also is useless. Don't. I'm telling you. So don't be in hurry. It takes time. Even if you understand clearly in an Nididhyasana, I am limitless consciousness, during a day in your transaction, you will take very naturally, you are a limited being. Again sit in Nididhyasana. Again you will take. Again you sit in Nididhyasana. It will take time. It's a lifelong process. If you are ready for it, accept it. Anyway, let's keep doing. Just be alert. Nididhyasanam is alert living. Alert to your own data, which you have gathered in Shravanam and Mananam. That's it. That's it. Nididhyasanam is equal to alert living. Mind will come with its own projections. From subconscious mind, this thing will come. Automatically comes, I am a limited being. I am a karta, bhokta. Negate it alertly. Again it will come. Negate it alertly. This is the process. Either in Brahma Abhyasa or in Samadhi Abhyasa. Anyway, so consciousness is everywhere. It cannot be recognized everywhere. So what does it require? It requires an appropriate medium. Consciousness requires an appropriate medium to manifest. And that is why we use two words, manifest consciousness, unmanifest consciousness. Consciousness everywhere is unmanifest, avyakta chaitanya. Consciousness in the living beings is a manifest consciousness, which we are able to experience, ever evident. So I have to recognize consciousness everywhere. What should I do? Now that's another question. It's unmanifest means you want to get away with the things. Unmanifest. It is unmanifest. Therefore forget about it. No. You have to appreciate unmanifest consciousness in a different way. You have to appreciate it in a different way. In a living being, well, just consciousness is manifest, and so you need not have to worry about. But in this world which is even inert, well, there also if you want to appreciate the consciousness is present, something we should understand it a little differently. What should I do? Well, we have an indirect method for that. It is not said in this shloka, but it is somewhere else, but we will discuss as a side point here. So to recognize consciousness everywhere, first thing is we have to study the Shastra very well. And after studying the Shastra, we should come to know that consciousness is ever existent. Consciousness alone is existent, let us say first. Consciousness alone is existent. For that you have to do some homework. Consciousness alone is existent. We have to understand this very clearly. Since consciousness and existence are one and the same, recognition of existence is equal to recognition of consciousness. How can you say consciousness is alone? Consciousness alone is existent. Analyze your experience. Analyze your experience. Waking state experience. Every moment consciousness is existent. Where computer is existent. Where consciousness is existent. Existence of computer, is it without consciousness or with consciousness? Oh, it is with consciousness. Okay, so consciousness also is existent. Consciousness, computer is. Computer consciousness is. Pot is. Pot consciousness is. Cloth is. Cloth consciousness is. Friend is. Friend consciousness is. Any experience in waking state is due to consciousness. So in waking state, waking objects exist, but consciousness is also existing. Without existence of consciousness, where is experience? Therefore, consciousness is existing in all the experiences in a waking state, without which no experience can takes place. Go to dream state, dream objects, all experience of dream objects. You need not have to say consciousness is existing. Like you are able to see a book, and you are able to see a man, and you are able to see a tree, and you are able to see a car, and you need not, if you don't appreciate the light, that's my fault. It's not the fault of a light. Whatever you are able to see in this world right now, because the light is present. And if light is not there, where is the object? Where you are able to appreciate the object? So light is present throughout. When you say, oh, tree is, light is. Book is, light is. Hall is, light is. The man is, light is. Computer is, light is. So light is ever present, because of which you are able to see the objects. Right? It is ever present. Same way all experience, you are able to experience me right now, my body, etc. Consciousness is present. Oh, Swami's body is. Swami's body consciousness is. Therefore, is a consciousness. Or else, consciousness is existing in all experiences in a waking state. Consciousness is existing in all dream objects, in all dream experiences, in all waking experiences. Consciousness is present in deep sleep state, even when no experience. To experience absence of all objects, consciousness is still present. And therefore, consciousness alone is existing. No. World also is existing and consciousness is also existing. But even when the world is absent, consciousness is existing. And therefore, don't say world exists all the time. Consciousness exists all the time. And therefore, consciousness alone is existent. Therefore, consciousness is self-existent. Therefore, instead of consciousness, I can say existence. Right? Because consciousness alone is existent, means consciousness is in the form of, is in the nature of. Existence. And therefore, well, definitely consciousness and existence are one and the same. Recognition of existence is equal to the recognition of consciousness. Therefore, if I have to recognize the consciousness in this computer, how will I do? I will never be able to recognize the consciousness in the computer as consciousness. But then how will I recognize consciousness in computer? I have to recognize the consciousness in the computer as existence. Because what is existence is consciousness. What is consciousness is existence. And therefore, in the world, you don't recognize the consciousness as you are doing, unlike in the living beings. But in this inert world, you recognize the consciousness as existence. Because that alone is of the nature of existence. Which is ever evident, ever existent is consciousness. Ever existent means self-existent. Nature of existence. Sat, consciousness, Chit. How do I recognize it? It as existence? How do I recognize consciousness as existence? Because I always say there is a computer, there is a clock, there is a cloth, there is a book. So, when you say there is a clock, etc., when you say clock is, so there is a book, so you say book is, there is a pen is, pencil, pencil is. So where is existence? Don't answer. Ask a counter question, where the existence is not. Space is, time is, pencil is, man is, woman is. So if we have to recognize consciousness, even in the farthest star, there is only one method. We have to recognize it in the form of existence. Because what is existence is consciousness. What is consciousness is existence. That is what in Dakshinamurti Stotram Acharya said, Yasyaiva sphuranam sadatmakam asat kalparthakam nabhasate. Sadatmakam, sat atmakam, sat swarupam. Yasyaiva, Dakshinamurti shines in the world as sat, as existence. And therefore, so don't try to see the consciousness in inert thing as a consciousness. If consciousness is present, it is not inert, it is living. Inert means I am talking about non-living, living, etc. Appreciated consciousness as existence. Whole world is filled with the existence. Space is, the very is consciousness. Means in form of existence. Air is, etc., etc., etc. All is in is. So where is existence? We ask a counter question. Where is existence not? Everything is existence. Therefore, consciousness pervades entire world in form of existence. Because existence is nature. So whole universe is pervaded by consciousness. We can say, Yena idam vishwam vyaptam. Yam na vyapnoti kit kasyana, Acharya says. Whereas nothing can pervade consciousness. Consciousness pervades everything in the form of existence. Nothing can pervade consciousness. What is the reason? Because pervader has to be bigger than what is pervaded. That which covers has to be bigger than what which is covered. And so that is why if you want to cover your body, the blanket has to be bigger than your body. So if you have a smaller blanket, throughout the night people will have a tug of war. Because if you cover the head, the leg will come out. And if you cover the leg, the head will come out. And therefore you get angry also. Who has put this blanket? And I'm just talking about a Swami. Who has put this blanket? They don't know even that I am 5 feet 8 inches, etc. I am so tall, they don't understand. They are keeping a blanket of a 5 feet. So I cover the head, the legs come out. And in this winter, again, it's a problem. And therefore, nothing is bigger than the Atma, one which pervades everything. That's called Atma. Apnoti iti Atma. Vyapnoti. Apnoti, Vyapnoti. Which pervades everything. That's one of the definition of word Atma. Adatte also is Atma. They give that definition. That's there in Kathopanishad Bhashyam. The definition of Atma, if you want, it's there. Paranjikhani Vetrunat Swayambhu, there itself, Bhashyakara has given this definition of Atma. So, Apnoti covers, Vyapnoti, pervades, is Atma. Yamna Vyapnoti Kasyana, nothing pervades Atma. Atma pervades everything. That thing shines because consciousness. That thing is, well, consciousness. So consciousness pervades an object. Object does not pervade consciousness. Anyway, so this is a first thing. Yena idam vishwam vyaptam yam na vyapnoti kasyana. Because of which, yena atmana chaitanyena idam vishwam vyaptam, by this consciousness, whole world is pervaded. But yam na vyapnoti kasyana. Yam atmanam kasyana na vyapnoti. Nothing can pervade Atma. And then, well, in a second line it says, Abha idam sarvam abharupam. Very beautiful. That's how I taken this verse. And perhaps the next verse also I will take. Idam sarvam abharupam. There are two readings here. Idam sarvam abharupam or idam sarvam abharupam. You can say either way, it is okay. So if abha, bha means, you can understand light, right? Bha means light or consciousness. Abharupam, inert. Idam sarvam, the whole world which is inert, ajadam, achetanam, etc. So abharupam, if you take, you should say idam sarvam, the whole world is jadam, inert. And well, if and what is the definition of achetanam or jadam in Vedanta? Well, very beautiful definition we have. Achetanam is beautifully defined, jadam is beautifully defined. Very technical definition. Normally we achetanam means, well, we say inert. In Vedanta, achetanam is defined as which cannot prove its existence by itself. Very beautiful. Right? Which cannot prove its existence by itself. Is called jadam, inert. But you don't use word inert, Swamiji. Okay, leave it. Rub it. Okay, jadam. Which cannot prove existence by itself. Then what proves existence by itself? That's what I told you before. Consciousness, which is in the form of existence, which pervades every name and form, because of which name and form exist. If name and form cannot prove its existence on its own, well, then its existence is proven by something else, that is the consciousness, which is in the form of existence. Okay, what is the definition of Chaitana? Which cannot prove existence by itself is Jadam. Then what is the definition of Chaitana? Opposite, which proves its existence by itself. Self-existent is Chaitana. Clear? So, well, then I should prove my existence because I am a conscious being. So I am consciousness, you said, then I am self-existent. I am proving my existence on my own. Yes, you are proving existence on your own. In this room, I am there or not. Do you have any doubt? You are there or not? Oh, whether I have come, whether I have joined this Zoom meeting or not. I do not have to prove my existence, right? In this class. I need not use pratyaksha. Oh, whether I have come or not, let me check. You know, I need not say, wait a minute, well, I will check up whether I have come or not. I need not use even inference also. I need not use even any logical thinking. I have to prove my existence. Nothing. So even before I do any form of thinking, I know that I am there in this class. Anything other than is there or not in this class or in the hall, etc., like wall, pen, computer, etc., camera, etc. Well, definitely, then you will have, you will prove its existence. So then, can never know or prove their existence. These things cannot prove their existence. They can never prove their existence. And but I exist or not, I prove by myself. Nothing else is required. Because I am self-evident. Well, what is self-evident? Well, prove its existence on its own. What is not self-evident? Well, need a conscious being, consciousness to prove its existence. And therefore, definitely, other things in this hall or a room, etc., need a Chetana Tattvam to prove its existence, whereas Chetana Tattvam proves its existence by itself. That shows that Chetanam is of the nature of existence. Whether I am there or not, well, I don't need anybody's help, anybody's proof. Well, wall proves my existence. No. You prove existence of the wall. You prove existence of the computer. So which cannot prove its existence by itself is Jadam. Which proves its existence by itself is Chetanam. Clear? Is it clear to you or not clear? So what is self-conscious, self-evident is self-existent. What is self-existent is self-evident. So that's how Swayam Prakasha, Swayam Siddha, Swayam Siddha, Swayam Prakasha. Therefore, I am consciousness, I am existence. Self-existence means self-existence or self-existent means existence is its nature. Self-conscious, self-evident means consciousness is its nature. Nature of what? I am self-conscious. I exist, well, without anybody's proof. So self-existent. Well, computer does not say I am existing. Look at me. No. The existence of computer is proven by the conscious being. Clear? Therefore it is Jadam. Anyway, let's go further in this little bit if you have a doubt. See, we say we do not have horns. Why do we say there is no horn on us? Why do we say that there is no horn on us? Because of the simple reason that, well, it is not available for any proof. If it is not available for any proof, well, we do say that it may exist. We do not say, well, that it may exist because we know that they don't exist, because it cannot be proven. Without proving, well, if you are going to say that there is a horn, then anybody can say anything. Suppose if I say in this hall, in this room, well, elephant is there. Swamiji, how do you say that? Well, no proof. Then you say this Swami is a mad guy. Could you follow what I am saying? Suppose in this room I say elephant is there. You say, Swamiji, how do you say? I said, no, I will not give any proof. There is no proof for that. Without proving, you cannot say anything is existing. Same way, if I have horns or not, well, there is no proof for that. There is no proof that there is horns are there on my head. And to prove means what? It should fall within the consciousness of someone or the other, at least, right? And therefore, either in the past it should fall within, or in the present it should fall, or at least in the future it should fall. If there is something which does not fall within consciousness in all the three periods of time, Well, if there is something which cannot fall within the consciousness in all the three periods of time, we say that thing is non existent. Therefore, horns are non existent because they were not there in the past. They had never fallen within consciousness even in the past. They are not falling, horns are not falling in within consciousness in the present. Horns will not fall within consciousness even in the future of to anybody. Then we will say horns are non-existent. Right? If anything which cannot fall within consciousness in all the three periods of a time by anybody, well, we will say it is, even we need not write by anybody. If it doesn't fall within consciousness in all the three periods of time, well, that thing is non-existent. Means consciousness alone proves existence of everything. Nothing is self-existing. What cannot prove its existence on its own is jadam. What proves its existence by itself is chetanam. That is I. I exist. Well, I don't require proof of a pratyaksha. I don't require proof of a anumana. No pramana can help to prove my existence. No pramana is required to prove my existence. Therefore, I am self-existent and everything else exists because they fall within the consciousness in all the three periods of time, either in past, future, present, etc. So consciousness proves the existence of everything. Consciousness is self-existing. Clear? Is it clear? And therefore, wherever existence is, space is, understand that isness is consciousness. No, Swamiji, space is means space is self-existing. Don't say that. Space is means space has fallen within consciousness, either in the past, in the future, and it will fall in the future as well as it in the present. Is it clear or not? When you say space is means space has already fallen within. Means fallen means what? Like a stone falls like that? Don't think that. This is a way of saying space is pervaded, okay, not fallen. You will think the space is falling now in consciousness, in me. Don't think that way. The space is pervaded by consciousness. Consciousness lends existence to everything. Therefore, wherever you see existence of anything, that is consciousness. So, yena idam vishwam vyaptam, the whole world is pervaded by consciousness. Don't look for consciousness or Atma in the form of consciousness there. Look for existence and it is there. Everything is. There is nothing is not. Everything is. Well, that is consciousness. So there may be certain star while existing in the sky which may not fall within our consciousness now, but still we accept the existence because at least in the future they will fall. Right? But if there is something which cannot fall within the consciousness in all the three periods of time, that's how I am saying, well, then the object is non-existent. Therefore, consciousness proves itself and proves the existence of everything. That's it. So, what is Atma. What is consciousness. So, others are called Abharupam. Consciousness is called Abharupam. I told you the two readings are there, Abharupam and Abharupam. Abha means consciousness. Abha means jadam. Idam Vishwam Abharupam. Suppose this is Jadam, means it cannot prove its existence. Consciousness proves its existence. And consciousness is called Bharupam, Abharupam, and others are Abharupam. So Bharupam proves the existence of Abharupam. Bharupam proves the existence of Abharupam. Without Bharupam, well, Abharupam can never prove its existence because they don't exist. They don't exist. Without pervading by consciousness, if they exist, means they are self-existent. So if the whole world doesn't exist at all. The whole world exists while pervaded by consciousness. That's all. Very existence in any name and form is consciousness. Therefore, the name and form is just a, I mean, what can I say? It's simply available for experience, but it is not existing. Whole world is like this. What is there is just consciousness. Idam abharupam sarvam anubhati. Acharya says, all this achetana prapancha, jada prapancha, reveals itself only behind the Atma, reveals later. Anubhati means so behind the Atma, not by themselves, not independently, indirectly you can say. So the entire inert universe reveals its existence only indirectly or behind the Atma. And what type of Atma? Yam bhantam, the Atma which reveals its existence directly because of nature. Self-evident, self-consciousness, well, it's evident, it's nature, Swayam Prakasha. So bhati, anubhati. Bharupam, bhati. Abharupam, anubhati. One shines independently, another shines dependently. Whatever shines independently is called Atma. I am consciousness. I exist. No proof required. Therefore, I am self-existent. When you don't require any proof for anything, that must be its nature. Heat is the nature of fire. What proof? What proof will you give? You say, put your hand. We can say that. That's it. Put your hand there. That's a proof, okay? No cause. You have to stop. Heat is the nature of fire because heat is the nature of fire. I am evident. I am existing because I am existing. No, my eyes reveal. I am revealing. I am existing. My ears reveal I am existing. Hey, your ears exist because you exist. Somebody said in France, I think, therefore I am. And then he drank 1 gallon of coffee in a restaurant. And then he came out and said, no, I exist, therefore I think. I am, therefore I think. Better. Earlier he said, I think, therefore I am. Hey, you don't think many times. You are not. So you exist because you exist. Existence is your nature. Oh, but I am conscious. That's what the consciousness is. Existence is consciousness, consciousness is existence. Everything exists, well, falls within consciousness. What is? What consciousness is? So you are Sat, you are Chit, you pervade everything. You pervade everything. Don't try to think, you try to see the consciousness. I mean, some kind of a talking, walking, etc. going on everywhere. No, don't think that way. You are in the form of existence in the entire world. And of course, here, because the mind is present, well, consciousness has manifested. So you recognize consciousness as a consciousness here because of the subtle body. You recognize consciousness as existence in the entire world. You are all pervading, limitless consciousness. Nididhyasanam number 1 is over. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.